Hello everyone, Storm101 here. Today we'll be having an update on our two upcoming systems. The first one will be beginning tomorrow across parts of the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. That will move into Wednesday. That could bring in a pretty decent snow for parts of West Virginia, Pennsylvania, and even getting parts of the southern parts of the New England states as well. We're also could be looking at a potential big storm system. Two pieces of energy will be coming together, one in the upper Midwest, one in the Southern Plains. These two will come together. The first system will bring in an Arctic front, and a low pressure system could develop along that front, and it could bring in some big problems for parts of the eastern U.S. later this week. So we'll be having an update on that as well. Before we get started this video, if you guys would like weather related content, you can subscribe to my channel. We do this stuff here all the time on this channel. Plus, we'll be having more updates on these two. Well, we probably the last update on the first system. We may have a short update tomorrow, but we'll definitely be having more updates on the late week system over the next couple days. So definitely stay tuned for more updates for those for that system as well. So we're going to get started with the watch warning advisory display. It's mostly quiet, at least for the eastern U.S. But what's going on in parts of the western U.S.? We got winter weather alerts for parts of the northern Rockies. Those blue boxes, those are that's a winter storm watch for parts of Wyoming, Colorado, Nebraska, even the parts of Kansas. Some areas could see several inches of snow out of that wave, and there could be a pretty decent amount of snow, maybe a little bit more when you get into parts of Missouri, Iowa, and maybe into northern Illinois. But really, the main focus here would be our next storm for parts of the Mid-Atlantic and maybe for parts of the Northeast as well. There's definitely some uncertainty here. This forecast is probably going to be pretty difficult, and I'm going to tell you guys why here. So we're going to start with the HRRR model. Our system arrives really by Wednesday morning, but the rain will be arriving Tuesday night for some areas. You already got snow breaking out in the parts of the higher elevations of Pennsylvania and Maryland, maybe in the parts of West Virginia. But there's something interesting that's going on within this snow band. If we actually get a forecast sounding, if we go to central Pennsylvania, uh, which of course in the morning hours it will be colder, 30 degrees. But when we get later in the day, things do get a little bit interesting as we kind of get deeper into the day here. So this is pretty much the middle of the day on Wednesday. If you get a sounding again, it's showing snow on the map, but at the surface for temperatures, it's actually 34 degrees. Now, the models do have a little bit of a tendency to be a little bit too warm for temperatures, but either way, if it's just about right or too warm, it's still favorable for snow. So even though your surface-based temperatures might be 34 degrees, but let me show you guys something on here though. Do you see this line here that I'm highlighting red? In the upper levels atmosphere, that's the freezing line. And whenever that temperature line, which is your red line, crosses this freezing line, that's an indicate that's below freezing temperatures. And you can see here, those below freezing temperatures are not far off from the surface at all. You're probably talking about 1,000 millibars or a little higher is where your freezing temperatures are, which is only about probably a couple hundred feet, because 850 millibars is 2,500 feet above our heads. So you're talking about temperatures that could be below freezing, about a couple hundred feet above our heads. Even though your temperature surface might be a little bit above freezing, but a couple hundred feet above your heads, it might be below freezing. And the snow may not have enough time to melt into raindrops at that point. So this is going to be one of those interesting setups where you got temperatures at the surface that will be maybe a couple degrees above freezing or right around freezing, but just above your heads, it's well below freezing. So this is going to be a very interesting setup to watch here, but this is also going to make accumulations difficult because snow cannot handle with above freezing temperatures. That's just one thing about this here, is that snow cannot handle very well with above freezing temperatures. So it's going to make accumulations pretty difficult. That's what I'm trying to say there. The accumulations can be pretty difficult out here, especially when you got areas that are above freezing. The soil, the ground temperatures are still above freezing, except for the higher elevations. Higher elevations will be right around freezing. But where you got these yellow covers here, if you look on the right side of your screen here, where you got all these yellow covers out here, that's at least 45 degrees. And that's for ground temperatures. So when you have very marginal temperatures, probably 33, 34 degrees, along with temperatures on the ground being above 45 degrees, it's not going to accumulate very well. What you'll really need is some heavy snowfall, maybe around an inch per hour rates of snow, and you could probably get yourself some snowfall accumulations because that's snowfall rates are going to be able to overcome the ground temperatures. It has happened several times before in the past, and this is why it's going to make things very difficult for forecasting. Is because if this stays as a light to moderate snow event, you might not see much of the way of snow on the ground. You could probably see quite a few snowflakes throughout the day, but you won't see much of the way of accumulations. The areas I will pay attention for accumulations will probably in the higher elevations where temperatures will likely be a little bit colder and the ground temperatures will be closer to freezing. Those are the areas where will likely experience most of the snow than areas in the lower elevations. So really there's going to be a lot of uncertainty here, and this is going to make snowfall forecasting very difficult. Because if this stays as a light, maybe moderate snow, you're not going to see much way accumulations at all. But if you do see heavy snow for a longer duration, you'll probably be one known as a overachiever or something like that. If you experience heavy snow, it's going to accumulate. But how long that lasts is still a big question because if temperatures at the surface will stay above freezing throughout most of the day, eventually over time that snow is going to melt away. So it's going to make snowfall forecasting pretty difficult here. Which if we do check out some of the models here when it comes to snowfall accumulations, you can see here, there's not a whole lot on this map here, but some of this could be more in a way of light to moderate snow. Really, for the lightest amounts, like out here, for example, here, honestly, there won't be any accumulations here, unless if you get heavy snow. The areas I would pay attention to for some of the highest snowfall totals would be in the higher elevations, like in parts of Pennsylvania. In those higher elevations, could see some snowfall accumulations. Maybe in parts of the higher elevations of Maryland as well. I mean, this snowfall map gives you a pretty good example here. Like in the lower elevations, for example, her small shows about 3.5 inches. But if you go into higher elevations nearby, it could be up to 6 inches of snow. Now, some of these amounts are likely going to be a little bit overdone here, in my opinion, because of those ground temperatures being warm. However, if you are able to experience heavy snow, you can get some accumulations, but enjoy while you can because those ground temperatures plus the air temperature could still be above freezing at that time as well. So you might not see a whole lot of snow out of this event here than what some of the models are spinning out here. Unless a lot of this turns out to be heavy snow, this could be an overachiever event. But then again, still a lot of uncertainty here with this setup here because then again, if snowfall rate stays pretty light, there may not be much of the way of snow on the ground out there. Could be a potential bust, or if it's a big boom, that means if the high snowfall rates are there for a large area, then that'd be a boom type of event. That'd be an overachiever type of event. So either way, there's still a lot of uncertainty here. I think the higher elevations could see anywhere from maybe an inch, and it could be as high as maybe 4 inches of snow in the higher elevations. Lower elevations, I think at best could be anywhere from a coating, could be as high as 2 inches as well in the lower elevations here. If you do live in these areas right in here, higher elevations, maybe an inch or up to 4. Lower elevations could be anywhere from a coating to maybe as high as 2 inches of snow. Some places might not see much of any snow at all, but either way, it's going to be a pretty tough snowfall forecast on this event here because of so many factors here that can either lead to a boom or a bust. But I think overall this is going to be a pretty minor event. A lot of those roads there, I think they're just going to stay above freezing. Here's the highest Canadian here, and like I said here since yesterday, Mall's been trending a little bit north. That's what we've been seeing here over the last couple of days here. It's got a little bit larger snow shield than what the Her model suggests, but the Harris Canadian does handle a little bit better with the cold air, but then again on the last event, it didn't do very well. So I'm not sure how I feel about this event here. That could change the forecast a little bit. If the models are too warm with temperatures at surface, that could be kind of a game changer. That can lead to some higher snowfall totals if the temperature surface are colder than what the models think, because that could change the snow ratio. Because if it's going to be 35 degrees, the snow ratios are going to be very low. Keep in mind that. But if the temperatures do trend colder, the snow ratios will be higher, which, in other words, warmer temperatures can lead to lighter snowfall rates. Colder temperatures could lead to higher snowfall rates. Just to kind of put in a little bit more of a simpler term there. But regardless, I think it's mostly going to be a minor snowfall event. Here's the snowfall from the Harris Canadian. You can see here, then again, not a whole lot of snow. Higher elevations will probably be the areas I will focus on for some of the highest snowfall totals. But I think overall, this is going to be mostly be a minor event, probably a little bit of a nuisance type of event for parts of the uh, Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. And then you're talking about our system here. Here it is right here. Let's go and talk about the next system. So really, we should begin to watch on this here. It kind of gets its act together really by later in the day on Friday. Here's your low pressure system up here in the upper Midwest. This is the one that's going to bring in kind of your Arctic front here. And there's going to be plenty of cold air on the backside of the system here. A lot of Arctic air. You're going to have above normal sea surface temperatures for the Gulf of Mexico. So that's going to lead to a pretty good amount of moisture. And here you go here. So this is by Friday night. You got 1,002 millibar low that pops up along that Arctic front in central Georgia. Now there is still uncertainty with the track of the low. The GFS has been jumping around a little bit. Some of its previous runs have been taking it through the Appalachian Mountains, and its latest run takes it a little bit further south. But then again, it's been kind of jumping around a little bit with the track of the low. That's something we still have uncertainty with. It's the track of the low. But regardless, if it's further east, it's still going to be a pretty powerful system. I mean, look at that. A 979 millibar low over parts of Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. This can't certainly be a big wind maker, but can also be quite a snow maker on the backside of the system as well. Potentially some heavy snow on the backside of it. That can lead to potential for some blizzard conditions. But at the same time, especially early on, we may need to watch for parts of the southeast for that potential for some severe weather as well. This could be a little bit of a severe weather maker as well, as there will be a decent amount of instability to work with, which the SPC does have areas highlighted in the parts of southeast for severe weather. I know on day 4 there's a 50% slight risk for parts of the Carolinas, Alabama, Georgia, and Florida as well. So you do need to keep an eye on the severe weather potential as well. And you can see here how it pulls up into the northeast. I remember I got a question yesterday here. It said, does this system really remind me of the storm of '93? And it does take a little bit of a similar track here, but I don't really think this is going to be a repeat of '93 storm system. But the potential could be there, and I'm saying could be, but I'm not 100% certain with that yet. I mean, we're still a few days away from this event. Things can certainly change. Let's check out the Canadian model, and you can see they're pretty similar here. But something that I do notice here on the Canadian model that kind of makes a little bit of a flaw run is that it wants to try to show two different lows. The main low will probably be the one a little bit further to the south. We've seen this several times in the past here, where it wants to try to develop two different lows. And part of that is convection bias, which you can see here definitely shows that. You can see with heavier convection right there. So this might be a little bit of a fall run right here. Plus, it definitely takes the low much farther to the east as well if there are two lows were to occur. But it should be more focused on one low. That's something that should be known as well. But either way, still has a pretty impactful system out there. But it can also decrease your snowfall potential as well on the backside of the system as well. European model is pretty much the similar way here on the latest run here. Wants to try to show two different lows here. But then again, it's most likely going to be focused on one low. And that could lead to a stronger low too. If it's focused on one low, it's likely to be stronger and it's probably going to be farther to the west. But I could be wrong. We'll have to wait and see. But then again, the intensity of the low and the track of the low is still pretty uncertain with this system here as well. But either way, it does look like this could be a very impactful system for the eastern U.S. Here's a European ensembles. Here's your first system, and here comes your next system right here, which it also wants to take it a little bit more of an eastern track. But each of these numbers here is a member of the European ensembles. So you got some that's further east, and you also got some that's farther to the west. And the mean is in between here. It takes it for central North Carolina here, and it kind of goes along the east coast as well. But it will kind of take a little bit more of a northern turn here as it gets a little bit stronger here. As you kind of get into Saturday as well. But regardless, it's a pretty strong agreement for the European ensembles. And you can see there how this rapidly deepens as well. This could have the potential to be a bomb cyclone as well. Here's the GFS ensembles. And you can see here it's pretty similar, but you also do notice here the timing is a little bit different as well. You got cluster models that are a little bit faster, but you also got other models that are much slower as well. The timing of that can really change the system's track too, because if it were to train a little bit slower, that could give it more time to strengthen. That could potentially have a little bit more of a westward track, but if it's a little bit faster, it could take a more eastward track as well, because it won't have as much time to deepen as well. So it's definitely something we need to monitor very closely here. Now, some changes are still likely here at this point here. There's still plenty of uncertainty with this system here, with the track of the low and the intensity. Now, honestly, my thoughts here, something we do typically see, well, probably about 80-90% of the time, the northwest trend. You probably heard that before, the northwest trend. So if that does occur, interior northeast Ohio Valley, you're probably still not out of the woods of this potential winter storm threat just yet. I don't think you're out of the woods just yet, because if that northwest trend occurs, which usually means is a little bit stronger system, it can take a more westward track here. I don't think this is going to be more of an East Coast type of storm. We've seen something similar to that for parts of the Northeast not very long ago. Honestly, I think this system here will probably take maybe a little bit to the west of Interstate 95, but that could change as well. But either way, there's still a lot of uncertainty with the track of low, because the track of low could determine how much snow you could see and how long could the snow here could go, and even for some areas, what type of precipitation could it be as well. But regardless, either way, this is going to be a major wind maker as well. On the backside low, there could be wind gusts of 30 to 40 miles per hour in the warm sector. It could be stronger than that. This certainly could be a big wind maker, especially for the northeast as well, which even that by itself could do so. That could cause major problems out there as well. So where are our pieces of energy at right now? Well, one is across British Columbia. Our second one that will go up to the upper Midwest is still way up here, way up north. And if I'm correct, we do not have any data from either one of these. It's pretty important to get weather balloon data from these pieces of energy, because that gives models a little bit more of an accurate look here to how the system could go. And when we put this weather balloon data into these models here, it can change the forecast a little bit. It could potentially change the strength of the low, or it could change the track of the low. So that's something, that's why we've been saying here for a long time now that's likely going to change here, because we don't have much way of weather balloon data on these systems here yet. Now, for the first piece of energy that will go down the Severed Plains, that will arrive in the northwest by Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. So we should be able to get some data out of the system there. But the secondary system moves into the upper Midwest by Friday, and that's only 1 day away from this thing here to become a big storm system. So really, when we get all the weather balloon data in for these two storm systems, is really by Friday. But even getting balloon data from the first system can also change the forecast a little bit as well. So it's definitely something we need to monitor very closely here. At least the models do agree on that the phase will likely happen here, but even getting weather balloon data could maybe change that factor. So then again, even though we got pretty decent agreement here, at least for the strength, overall there's still plenty of uncertainty here with the system here. That's why it's too early to talk about snowfall amounts as of right now. But we should be able to talk a little bit more about snowfall amounts maybe within 24 or 48 hours of the event. Otherwise, this could be very interesting to watch. But here's one way to kind of look into probabilities. This is the Weather Prediction Center winter weather outlook. This is for the probability of it's at least seeing a quarter of an inch of snow or sleet. And really the areas I will focus on, maybe for the better potential, it might be in the darker green in the blue colors. That's a dark green that's 30 to 50%. And then you got the dark blue colors, that's a 50 to 70% chance. A pretty slim chance would be areas in the light green. And you can see here that covers a large area. So that kind of gives you an idea. Now, by the way, this is just for Saturday, by the way. Just for Saturday. But what this tells you is that there's still a lot of uncertainty with the system here, still a large spread. And then by day 5, which is Sunday, probabilities really do increase as you get to the northeast. Pretty high probabilities for parts of the New England states. Dark blue is 50 to 70%. Meanwhile, the cyan colors, it's 70 to 90% chance. So there's some pretty good probabilities out there, but it doesn't necessarily tell you how much snow you could see. It's still too far out. But it kind of gives you an idea where maybe the best potential to see some snowfall conditions could be at. So it kind of gives you an idea. Then by Monday, it's gone. This system will be moving through very quickly here. This is going to be like a 2-day event for the eastern U.S. Begins really by Saturday, continues into Sunday, and it's gone by Sunday night. So yeah, it's going to be a fast-moving system, but overall, there's still a lot of uncertainty with this system here. I do believe this is going to be a big storm system for the eastern U.S. I do believe so. Areas I will watch for that potential for a good snow will probably be the areas here shaded here in the red circle here. Probably a little bit farther to the northwest, but like I said earlier on, models do have the tendency to have a northwest trend within 24 or 48 hours. And that's about 80 to 90% of the time. It could not happen with this event. It's a possibility, but I'm just putting that out there because that could happen as well. So that's why I'm saying the interior northeast, the Ohio Valley, especially the Ohio Valley, I don't think you're out of winter storm threat just yet. But the storm then again could also bring severe weather for parts of the southeast. There will be a decent amount of instability to work with. I know, but been getting a couple of questions up in the mid-Atlantic if we could see severe weather. I think it's possible, but also that depends on the track of the low. If it goes further to the east, decreases your chances. But if it goes along the Appalachian Mountains, it can increase your chances as well. So it's definitely something we'll be keeping an eye very closely here over the next couple of days. But anyways, guys, that's all for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys like this video, hit the like button. If you like my channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notifications so you never miss an upload. If you guys have questions about this, put in the comment section down below. Here's you guys questions. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye and have a good day.